YouTube channel and another episode of Wind Down the Weekend. Today we have a very special guest with us, my brother! This is Andre.
Thanks for having me.
Do you want to shout out any business ventures, social media pages?
You can find me on socials at AndreWilliams_1018. You can follow my dance company at relevationsdance.co. Both of those on Instagram.
Period. Make sure you follow, tap in, events, dance recitals. What's going on? Anything new coming up?
We have a show in February. We have our Valentine's Day show. So we're doing it on Saturday, and it's a double. We'll do a couple show in the afternoon, and then a single mingle in the evening.
Cute. As singles, we need something to do.
Yeah.
But make sure y'all check in or tap in with Andre. He has a lot of great things going on. We are gonna go ahead and get into our drink talk. Andre actually brought us something special. So tell us about this.
Yeah, so this is Sea Stone. The wine that is in this is a mix of white and red, obviously, but technically it's green and red because this is green wine from Portugal. So partially that and partially whatever other red that they decided to put in there. But yeah, the vendor is in Portugal.
Love that for us. Something very special, very fancy.
Yeah.
So let's tell us. Do you have anything you want to tell us?
To us.
Yeah.
Love you too.
It's very dry. It is very dry. It's not very dry. I would say it's very fresh. Like it has a very fresh taste to it.
Yes.
So it's like I could do it. I could get with you.
You're definitely not gonna like the second one then.
Now she brought things that I hate. But no, it'll be cool. I'll drink pretty much whatever because I'm like, baby, if you could drink hard liquor, you could take whatever. So
I'm done.
I'll be fine. But we're gonna go ahead and get into our icebreaker. So today we're playing We're Not Really Strangers, of course, again for the millionth time. Now this is gonna be our family edition because obviously this is my brother. So we do have some cards pulled already. Dragon go first.
Okay, so it's level 2 connection. I'm nervous.
Okay.
What have you learned to accept about yourself over time? What's helped you get there? I think what I've learned to accept about myself over time would probably be that it's okay for me to be angry. Like I have anger, and sometimes it's okay to like actually sit with that feeling as opposed to just shunning it away.
Okay.
I have a tendency to do that rather than just dealing with it. So.
And we're very different in that. But I love that for you, allowing yourself to be angry. So for me, something that I've learned to accept about myself over time would be that it's okay to be vulnerable. I think I have for a long time like just built up this steel wall that is impenetrable. Like nobody can get to me, nothing can bother me. People say things that offend me and I hide it because I don't want people to see my weaknesses ever. And I'm just learning that it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to hurt, it's okay to cry, it's okay to feel, it's okay to love. And what's helped me get there over time, I think so many like huge emotional moments happening back to back is what really got me there.
So
because last year, yeah. Yes. So last year's what really did it for me. It was just like a big like, you cannot keep pretending like this stuff does not affect you and that does not serve you. So I thought I was doing myself a favor by pretending, and ultimately it was just like chipping away at me internally. So just experiencing a lot of things that's make me be okay with being vulnerable. And I love it. I love that for me.
Yeah, I do too.
Thank you.
You and I share that brick wall, that steel wall. I don't play about that.
And can't nobody get past it. But a couple folks that slipped through. I don't know what the hell happened, but security's not doing their job.
Oh.
Okay.
We need to up security.
Literally. No, we don't. We don't need up security. It's okay.
We've healed.
Yes. The people beyond the wall are fine. Everything is fine. So if you could have a conversation with a loved one who is no longer here, what would you ask them and what would you want them to say? So for me, the loved one would be Grandpa Steve. Ooh, Grandpa Steve. Oh, this is real deep. So I would actually ask him, how did he feel like in his final months? And then if me not showing up hurt him. Because I did it out of self-preservation. I know, and that sounds like it's getting deep. I did it out of self-preservation.
That's
but
hard.
I didn't really.
You didn't consider his experience.
But it was intentional because I know what I can handle, and I was like, I don't want to create a last anything. And then what would I want him to say? I would want him to validate me.
Do you feel bad?
I don't feel bad, but every now and then I'm just really curious. And then I'm like, because I think about me in my last days, and so what if like my friends and family did that to me? And I'm just dying by myself.
I don't think he would feel that way. I mean, I share a different experience, and then I end up being the person that's there.
Okay.
So like I did the same thing for Kara Lee when she passed. I didn't get to do that with Granddaddy Ben.
Too far.
It was too far. Honestly, I think that might be my person. Granddaddy Ben would probably be my person. To be deep on the same end, I wonder about how he would see me now, like as a gay black man and in a relationship, you know, like I wonder what he would think about that. I would imagine that he would love me beyond that. I don't think he would ever be that type of person, you know. But I wish I could have shared that part. I wish I could have shared myself with him fully, and I didn't get to learn myself fully until I was out of the house.
Right.
So, you know.
And what would you want him to say? I feel it.
Yeah. What are you proudest of yourself for getting through this past year?
Ooh, honey. I honestly am just happy that I made it to the end. Granted, we are 2 months. We got 2 months left. I made it to the end because, woo! May, June, July, August. I was on the edge, and I'm not talking about glory. Honey, it was just so hard. And so, I'm most proud that I got through the year, generally speaking. I'm glad that I also was able to make it through being unemployed without taking a lifestyle hit.
Yeah.
Now that for me is just like, okay,
that's
shout out to God, because with this economy, there's no way I should have been at brunch, lunch, dinner, drinks on me. Where we going? I'm there. How? So I would say I'm happy that I just made it through that, and we move on. 2025 has to be better.
That's fair. I think, I don't know, this year has been so chill for me, I feel like.
I love that for you. I've had 2 years of nonstop. Like,
not if you buck energy.
Literally. I didn't even do nothing.
My proudest, when I got done paying off my car.
I love that.
Yeah, in May. Oh, that felt like. But let me tell you, what comes with a paid off car soon for you is a whole new different type of rage around people almost hitting your car.
Okay. Because you that close to $500 every month again. That close.
I'm ready to fight.
Girl, I can't
every
have
single
that.
time. No, it's bad. It's bad. You just breathe. Shout out to my therapist.
Shout out to him. Both of them. It's honey, my God. So that is the end of our icebreaker. We are going to go ahead and get into our main topic, which is becoming the person you needed as a child, which is very deep, but very necessary conversation that I'm excited to have, especially with you. I will say, I do feel like, just from a viewing perspective, I just want y'all to be aware of the fact that it takes a village to raise a child. So it's not any one specific person. There's not two people. There's not even a family unit. You literally need a village, because not one person can be everything. So just be mindful of that as you listen to us speak. We all doing the best that we can. And so we are growing and learning in that process. And with that being said, the first question is, what does becoming the person you needed as a child mean to you personally?
There's two parts to that, because I feel like you also have to look at what you wanted to be as a kid, or what you would have wanted to see modeled so that you know that you could do it. So in that instance, like, I wish I would have had more exposure to dance as a black male, and seeing more black men dancing. Now, I personally didn't have a lot of access to that, other than like hip hop, you know, music videos and things like that. But I wanted, when I look at where I'm at now, I wish I would have been able to tap into concert dance a little bit more. So it was important when I got the chance to start dancing, to start emulating and being out there as a black dancer that didn't just do hip hop, or even if I did have a hip hop background, that didn't mean that was all that I could do or all that I could explore. So it was really important for me there in terms of showing up for that little version of myself. I think the other half of that would be the household aspect, obviously, which I think is a lot more of what like this topic is about. And I think I was a very like vulnerable kid, and very gentle. And that doesn't mean that you have to handle the child with like super caution, but it does mean that you have to be conscious of their experience and how they're experiencing you.
That's a good one.
So that comes out in my teaching, that comes out in the way that I have conversation with other people, that comes out when I have dealt with children in any sort of capacity.
That's good. I think for me, becoming the person you need as a child, just generally speaking, is growing up, acknowledging and validating the experiences that you've had, and validating the child that you were, and then doing everything possible to become the human being that would support and consider that child. And so I think a lot of times, you know, especially like we grew up and it was 3 kids in the household, and then sometimes Lamar would be with us too. And so it's like you had to kind of like manage your different personalities and be intentional in which like every child is cared for. Every child don't need, every child don't need to be hollered at. Every child don't need a whooping. Every child don't need a timeout. Every child is literally different. And so just managing that. But I think for me, it's all about, now that I'm older and grown, caring for kids the way that I wish that I was cared for, but then also taking care of me in a way in which I'm still loving on my inner child. So that in ways in which maybe I was never loved on previously. We'll leave that at that. So our next question is, what were some unmet needs you had as a child, and how are you working to fulfill those needs now for yourself or others?
I was like a super curious kid. Like I wanted to play all the time. I wanted to interact with people. I wanted to figure out how things worked. And I think that was kind of yanked from me at a very young age. Like I remember when we were like young, and like I just wanted to interact with you because you were bestie at the time. So like you were in the Barbies. So I was like, okay, we gonna get into this Barbie game.
Barbie, I got your ass tore up.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, yeah. No, those types of things got pulled from me. So then when you look at, like, again, looking at myself now and honoring that young child, which I'm realizing, like, in my older age is really my artist. I love fashion, I love hair, I love movement, I love structure, I love architecture, I love all of these things. So what does it look like to actually nurture those things that I had so much interest in, but was pulled away from me in that time? So I think that was a really big miss for me, is like having that curiosity just pulled out from under me so young. I think if that was nurtured better, or nurtured more, then I think I would have maybe said that my needs were met in that area, you know?
That's fair. So I'll say my biggest unmet need, in my opinion, is just being considered. I think I went a lot of time of just kind of like flying under the radar as a kid.
Yeah.
So it's
you were the
like,
middle child.
Yeah. So I just like.
And Marcus happened literally right after you. Yeah. And
so it's like I just feel like I did what I needed to do or did what I was supposed to do, and then you just kind of like flying under the radar. Nothing is really happening. And then randomly, like, despite the fact that I wasn't doing much, I stayed in trouble. Like in high school. Stayed without a phone, stayed getting hollered at, stayed couldn't go nowhere. And so I thought my biggest unmet need was just like not being considered. How is Kira feeling emotionally? What would Kira like to do? Because the biggest thing that like growing up was always like, well, Kira don't want to do nothing. That's not true. Like, it's easy to say, but that's literally not true. Yeah. Like, did you ask me what I wanted to do?
Yeah.
Did I say what I wanted to do when nobody gave a damn?
Possibly.
Right. And so, I think it was like just I wasn't considered enough, in my opinion. And so it's like, moving forward, I'm really big on consideration. In my friendships, when I'm dealing with men, and even at work. If you cannot consider me, we have a serious problem. If you can't consider how this reaction, action, words, thoughts, opinions would affect Kiera, we don't have to worry about it at all. And not even in a selfish manner, but in a human manner. If you don't have the ability to consider, I don't want to engage, we're fine. We don't have to do this at all. So I'm really big on considering others in a lot of ways that are like not typical. So like even in conversations, I might notice that somebody's telling a story and nobody's listening, so I turn and I refocus my attention. Or I notice that somebody gets cut off while they're talking, and so it's like, okay, you're talking over them, okay. And what were you going to say?
Yeah.
You know, so it's like just being intentional about giving people space, because everybody doesn't always feel comfortable taking up space. And now that I'm older, I walk in a room and it's mine. But I'm also very intentional about identifying folks where it's like, you need to speak. I didn't hear you say anything. You need something. I see on your face that you're hurt. I see on your face that you have something to say. You're curious. You have a question. What is it? So I'm very considerate now with other people, just because I know what it feels like to not be considered, and it sucks. So I would say that was probably my biggest unmet need, is consideration. And then I think I didn't see a lot of vulnerability either.
No. That, or for me, I'm just not thinking about this. My love language, like my top love language is touch.
Yeah.
Think about the physical interaction.
There was not a lot of physical.
So, and if it was, you just keep asking.
That's true.
You know, so like, I think that was a real big unmet need for me.
And I literally hate.
And you hate being touched.
Literally. The only person that wants to touch me is my man. Outside of that, I can only be touched. Get your hands off of me. Literally, like.
Do you want a hug?
I don't.
You sure?
It's like the basic, even a handshake. Handshakes literally piss me off. We literally don't need to do this. Why are we touching hands? What's the point? What's going on? Like, I literally cannot stand touch. But my top love language is quality time.
Mm-hmm.
I just want you in my presence. We can literally sit on the couch. Don't even have to touch each other. I just want you there. That's it. Your presence is literally my number one, followed by gifts for obvious reasons. But
Do you feel like you didn't get a lot of quality time?
I wouldn't say that because I was always with mommy, always with her. Now daddy never. So I feel like if anything, it's because I didn't get it from my dad. So then when I show up in my like friendships and relationships, I'm like really intentional about like, because I just want to be sure that this is like, is this a genuine connection? Because you can't genuinely be connecting to people and then like not want to be around them.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so, and I think I feel a lot of times like growing up, it was like, well, you don't want to be here, so you probably aren't really a fan. You don't want to, like, you don't love me. You don't want to be here, so you don't love me. So I think that's why I seek that. And anyone that's like, oh, whether we're like romantically speaking, you have to make time for me.
What about friendships though?
Even in friendships, you have to make time for me. My friendships where I don't see them as often, they way lower than the other friendships were. And even like I had friends that are like out of the country, not out of the country, but out of the state, but we still talk on the phone.
Yeah.
So it's like spending that quality time. Like Jasmine. Jasmine's in San Diego. I talk to her like once a week most of the time, sometimes twice a week. But when we on the phone for 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
Because we need to catch up. We need to spend some time with each other. And then when she comes in town, or when I come to her, when she comes in town, I get a full day. Full 24 hours is mine. That's no requirement.
Not a requirement.
Like, quality time is huge for me because it's like, if you don't want to be in my presence, surely this is not real.
Yeah.
You don't want to make time for me, surely this is not. Surely.
Then what is this?
Yeah.
Like clearly you don't like me.
I don't have people in my life that I don't want to be around.
Yeah.
Anybody want to be around me, I don't like
You
them.
definitely.
So yeah. So we're big with a new wine.
Wait, we're back?
We're back.
Let's say back again.
We're back.
Back.
What am I saying?
Back.
Oh, honey, we're back. I'm sitting like, you want me to say something different? So we're here with a new wine, another selection from Andre. Let's hear about the wine.
I'm dead. Okay, so this is from House of Brown. This is a Brown estate in Napa Valley, and it is Black owned. So me and Michael went to there.
Who is Michael?
Michael's my partner.
Period. It is.
So this is from there. We went there and we went to their, not to their estate because the estate is exclusive, but we'll get to that eventually. They have like a little place downtown where they like do their tastings and things. So we went there. I had a ton of their wine, and this is their Chardonnay. It's supposed to be buttery, so that's why it came out thicker.
Yeah, it did come out really thick. It was like a.
Yeah, it got that.
In the glass. Well, man, let me see if it'll do it now.
I
don't know. You might.
So what you so you'll see that it's hanging on to the glass a little bit longer than what a regular wine would. It would normally just swoop right down.
Yeah, it'd be loose. Okay, so let's toast.
Yeah.
No wine, no glass.
And mine will be to Black women.
Thanks. Now, this is what I will say about this one.
Okay.
I've had Chardonnay once. Hated it. This is the best Chardonnay I've had. So it's good. It's good. Is it my choice of wine? Absolutely not. But for a Chardonnay, this is actually really good. So shout out to Black owned. Yeah.
House of Brown.
We love that.
Yeah, House of Brown is amazing.
All right.
I want to go to the estate.
House of Brown, if you're listening, we're trying to show up.
I would, yeah, we would love to go to that estate.
Okay, so back to our questions. I'm dead. House of Brown. House of Brown. I'm dead. Okay, so our next question is going to be, do you feel you've healed enough to become that person, or is it still a work in progress for you?
I don't feel like I don't feel like I'm ever gonna stop finding new parts about that person that I'm supposed to be.
Okay.
Like I feel like that's ever changing, even with like going to therapy in the past 2 years and realizing the emotional aspects of things that I didn't even realize that I had. Like, I do not know how to name emotions.
Same. I don't know how to feel emotions beyond anger. I'm learning though. I'm learning. It's literally my one. Well, happy and anger. So yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I feel like. We had our extremes. It was either happiness or it was like. So then, like, you have no idea how to even put words to the other emotions within that spectrum. It's been interesting. I went to my therapist literally 2 weeks ago, and she was like, "And how does that make you feel?" And I told her XYZ, not an emotion whatsoever. And she was like, "Well, actually, that's an action, but I want you to tell me how it made you feel." And I was like,
"Girl, I don't know. Can we pull out the chart so I can get to the bottom of it's anger, but not regular anger?" I actually was embarrassed. That's what I was literally. I feel like you said, it is always a work in progress. I don't think I'll ever be done healing and becoming that person. But I will definitely sound very much so well on my way. Like, definitely we're headed there. Because I want to continue to find better ways to show up for me. I think, like for me, it's been a very slow process allowing myself to feel. So at the beginning of the year, I was like, well, even last year, I just started to cry. Like, literally hadn't cried in years. And I was like, just crying. And at the top of the year, I was crying and having panic attacks, and like it was a whole thing. And so it's like I'm slowly allowing myself to become someone that is emotionally available and somebody that's like listening and understanding and considerate and intentional. I think I've been a lot of those things previously, but only in a small scope. And so like as I continue to heal and grow, I'm showing up better and better for myself, but I'm also showing up better for other people too. Like, and I love that for me. But yeah,
not you being a better person overall.
I am. I love that too. I am a better person. Like, my friends would look at me like,
look at you.
Never expected that. Me neither, bitch. I literally thought I was gonna be hard body forever, and now
not
I'm
hard body. I'm dead.
Literally. So how do you set boundaries in becoming the person you needed, especially if it means balancing others' needs with your own?
I have a tendency to balance everybody's needs over mine, to be real. Like, I am very caretaker, and that's a part of just my being. So I have to be not overly cautious, but I have to be extremely aware, extremely self-aware of like my needs in the moment, and if I'm actually being true to myself, or if I'm dipping into the pot of like, oh, well, this works for me, so I can just, I think that's been like one of the hardest things about being in a relationship, one of the hardest things about being in a relationship, to be honest, is not getting lost in the other person. Because you want to be so easygoing, and you want it to make sense, and you want it to be smooth, and not only that, but like sometimes you're taught in a lot of ways. I mean, as a black male, you're taught not to feel emotion. So like for me, it's like, no, I'm gonna just show up hard body the entire time. No, I can do that. That's cool. That's chill. That works.
And it doesn't serve
you. Yeah. So it's not as much setting boundaries as it is being self-aware and advocating for myself, if that makes sense.
Advocating for you, I love that.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm getting better at setting boundaries. I think originally I did not set boundaries because I didn't want to show my weakness. So I didn't want to set like don't go any further or some problems. I don't want you to know where there's some problems.
You don't know where. You don't want them to know where the brick wall is.
You're gonna find out when you find out. Like,
no, I feel like that. You're gonna.
Yeah.
you
know when you went to our house.
I'll let you know right now.
So it's like I always
Yeah,
like,
no, I feel that.
oh, boundaries, yes. And then like literally there's no boundaries, and then randomly I boom. And all this shit
Doors knocked down.
Yeah, all this shit's knocked over. I don't give a fuck. And it's like, oh my gosh, what just happened? Like, wait. Literally.
All I said was no.
Literally, all I said was no. Me, fuck you. Literally. So the boundaries part is really big for me now, and I'm really good at setting them. Where it's just like, I'm actually not okay with this, and this makes me uncomfortable. This actually makes me feel away. I'm really good at like stopping conversations before they go too far, stopping conversations when I feel it here. And I'm like, before I say something, I ain't got no business saying.
Let me just.
And so even with dating, a lot of times we'll have a conversation and I'll go, I don't want to have this conversation anymore. I think we're good. Like, and I can just kind of like stop it. And so I'm like, we don't agree on the fundamental components of this conversation. So I don't think we need to have this conversation at all.
That's real, especially right now.
Yeah. And so for me, it's like, we can't even agree on definitions. We can't agree on basic anything. And that's fine.
So there's no point.
But we don't need to have a conversation because we're not even going to hear each other. And I'm really big on understanding. Yeah. I don't want to just hear you. I don't want to just listen to you. I want to understand the words that are coming out of your mouth. So I can properly place them mentally when it's time for me to process and understand. I want to understand you. We don't have to agree or disagree. I want to be able to understand you. And if I'm in a place where I can't understand you, let's just stop right now. let's stop right now. We're really good. So that's how
we can
I
come back
set
to this
boundaries.
later. No,
Literally. So that's how I set boundaries right now. And then especially if it means balancing others' needs with your own. I am really good at putting my mental health first. So anything that could possibly disrupt me mentally and emotionally, I'm really good at like, and we're done.
But
even
honestly,
if that
that's such a good skill. Oh, you say even if that means
even if that means I have to violate you.
Mine,
that's why
sorry.
Skill, right? You started. That's a good skill. We're working on it though. We're working on it because for me, it's like by any means necessary.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this boundary together if I need to. And so it's like right now I'm working on how do you, in a healthy way, put boundaries in place so that you don't get to a point where you're violating people and you're crossing their boundaries.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
being aware of others. Ooh.
You know what I mean? Because I thought we grew up like you really had to worry about you. And I worried a lot about you and Marcus, but beyond you and Marcus, I really have to worry about me. And the only time I worry about other people is if they're an underdog. That's
well, but I feel like that rings true to all three of us. Maybe not Marcus, I don't know. But being the oldest, my attention was always to y'all two. I would rather be in trouble than y'all two, if that makes sense. Like, I would rather cover y'all two than opposed to, or I would be looking out for y'all two, as opposed to being like, oh, well, it's about me and how I'm feeling and what's going on. Because I've been that way. I would have just been in my room the entire time.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't remember, but what I do know is I didn't get a lot of whoopings and stuff. So
Lucky.
you may have been putting your ass on line. Because honey, I know mine wasn't. I didn't get a ton of whoopings, but I got other stuff. So yeah.
I think we all got stuff.
Yeah.
We all got different.
And I'm like, as people learn us though, it's like, oh, okay, I see. Like I recently had a conversation with some of my friends about people showing up for me. And like how people don't show up for me. Or my experience in people showing up for me is that at some point you're gonna throw it in my face, or you're gonna act like you're gonna be there and you're not. And so they were like, huh. And so then when I kind of told them about some of the things that happened to me and growing up, they were like, oh my gosh, like that's actually fucked up. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
No, trauma.
So then when you look at me, so then I think people get a better picture of me when they start learning those things where it's like, oh, historically she has not had people show up, give a fuck, do things for her, and not have malicious intent. Or not be keeping track in the background so they can be like, gotcha. You know, like, that's not my experience. It's like, as people learn it, I'm like,
heavy energy. Yo. No, that's real.
All right, too. So,
these are heavy.
They are heavy. Do you engage in any activities or self-care practices that honor your younger self?
My career. I dance. As I keep having and this is one thing that I get tired of doing when I get older and older and older, you have to keep resending and updating your bio.
Oh yeah. I love updating my bio.
I'm gonna start sending you mine.
Oh no.
Because
I love my shit. I don't like popping other people's shit.
Because I have to go back and because I don't want to like discredit myself. I always, like, it's hard for me to, like, shorten because at this point, like, I've done, not to, like, be whatever, but, like, I've done a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, for me to discredit or to not put it in means that I'm not acknowledging, you know, those activities, those things, the play that I've studied and researched in order to be where I am as a mover right now, as an artist right now, which means also taking care of that kid.
Right.
You know? So like, a lot of shit. A lot of dancing, a lot of freedom. But I remember even when I was younger, like I would literally, when those moments would come and I did not have a safe space because I felt like our house wasn't a safe space for me often. Like I would literally go into my room, lock my door, max out some music and just dance. Not even like thinking about like what I was doing, not like in any sort of form or technique, throwing myself around the room even, like movement itself is dance. So it's been a lot of that. And then also realizing that I can't just dive into my career and let that be the only, you know, like I have to also have things for myself that are outside of that. So now, plans. Tater. But Tater is just Tater. She's like a literal baby. She's a child. That's my dog. I'm sorry, I'm like, I'm not even talking to just clarify. Tater Tot is my dog. And then I have now 32 plants at home.
I have 3, one died. I had 4, but now I have 3.
Michael is tired of me bringing plants home.
I bet 32 is so intense.
That and new one, Legos.
I actually
don't understand.
I have like Lego sunflowers.
Do you really? Where?
I don't remember my brother out.
Okay.
I already put them together.
I've been doing the botanical series. All of the flowers
really
that are in
cute.
Target. Yeah. So I'm building one right now, and I have 1, 2, 3. I have 3 cherry tree, orchids, and the other one is like a red blossom. And then now the one that I'm doing is the orange one. Lego, I can use a sponsorship.
Lego, if you're listening, do you engage in any activities or self-care practices? So for me, it would have to be, I do a lot of exploring right now. Just because vacations too, which not this year, but yes, starting next year I'll be back on track for my vacations. I just do a lot of exploring. I feel like I didn't do a ton of exploring growing up. I just kind of like did what I needed to do. And so now I'm like really big on just like figuring out, what do you like? Why do you like it? How often do you like it? So the Legos, plants, I was sewing for a little bit, putting together puzzles, baking, cooking, Reading. Thank you. There's so many different things that I've like just started to get back into or try for the first time, just because I'm like, why not? Walking, taking nature walks. I actually thoroughly enjoy it. Hiking is actually fun.
We need to go hiking.
We can.
We can
I
go to
actually like
Colorado.
it. We actually can. I've never been.
That's what
Okay. I'm for real.
I'm done.
Now I need to look at my vacation plans because you know I'm a busy girl. But no, really. I do a lot of exploring.
You do stay busy. Not gonna lie.
I do.
Has her own business.
Oh yeah, my business is so. Ooh, fun fact! I have a new venture launching soon. By the end of the year, you will see it. Brown Sugar Book Collective. Yeah, it's.
That sounds
basically-
exclusive.
It does. I'm so excited for it to come out. Essentially, Brown Sugar Book Collective is going to be a space for Black women to meet as a collective. We're going to focus on a book. There's also going to be some like a la carte events that happen throughout the year, but ultimately it's going to be a book club that happens maybe 3 times a year, where we focus on a book that is by a Black woman or by someone Black. It could be a romance book, it could be fiction, nonfiction, it doesn't matter, self-help, but something that's going to be like a guiding tool for us to connect, because I feel like it's really difficult for Black women to make friends and find community. And so I want to make a space where it's easy for us to do that, and it's fun for us to do that, and you can do it as many times as you want to. So I'm really passionate about that. I'm really excited, and I haven't like breathed life into it until now. So you're welcome for the sneak peek. Make sure you go follow us on Instagram. Literally,
getting the extra content, the information.
Y'all get a little special drop, a little special info, but it's gonna be a good time. And anybody that's ever been to an event that I've hosted, or you've been to an event that I've put together, you know I do my big one every time.
It's on.
You know that. If you've been to a Kiara function, if you've been to a Kiara function, it's gonna be a good time. So make sure y'all tune in for that. But long story short, I overdid that answer. I'm just exploring right now. I want to have fun. I want to try new things. I want to do things I've never done before, because I owe it to myself, my younger self.
I feel like curiosity and play is such a big part of like honoring that younger child, because at some point that gets stripped from everybody.
It is.
You know, it's like, oh, no more time to play. Curiosity is the fountain of youth.
It is. So, what challenges have you faced in trying to embody the person that you needed?
As I'm chewing on a pretzel. Not an ASMR video.
Shout out to the pretzels. Honey, let me do a quick. Zoom in!
You see it?
Hold on, I'm gonna give y'all a fresh bite. Hold on. I have to finish mine. It's going stuck in my teeth. Honey. The pretzels do what they need to do. I'm gonna tag them. Honey, I'm being turned on by a pretzel. Wait a minute! I'm getting hot!
Where's the fan?
We need something. So what challenges have you faced in trying to embody the person you needed?
I feel like it's hard to advocate for yourself. I feel like that's kind of at the root of, I don't know, and maybe it's just me, but I feel like that's at the root of therapy, is learning to advocate for yourself and communicating. You know, and I feel like you're taught so much, at least, especially in our household, you were taught so much to be quiet and to just deal, or to like show up as, it's like that Sunday church family that's perfect, that has that perfect image, that, you know, the kids don't show up in jeans, the kids don't show up in sweatpants, the kids aren't ever pissed off. They're always in a good mood, and they never have to, you know, like, their needs are met, and they, you know, like, life is good for them. And it's like, that was never, I mean, like, in moments in time, I'm sure that was the picture.
Mm-hmm.
But in that, it silences the child, because then you have to show up as this person that's not really there, or show an experience that's not really there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're having to act.
A mask. Everything.
Yeah, it's a mask. Trying to get rid of that mask, learning how to like not carry that with you.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the hardest challenge that I've had.
I actually agree with that. I think my biggest challenge is people understanding me in my fullness. I think I oftentimes, like you're mentioning, perform. And then my other challenge would just be that people, I think, misunderstand self-preservation and the need for it. So for me, like one of my biggest triggers, being very open here, is people calling me selfish. It literally will send me into another dimension, I promise you.
So if I said it right now,
I literally would shoot through the, because you cannot give me an example of me being selfish. And I think that word has been used against me so many times, despite the fact that I have no boundaries a lot of times. People get whatever they want out of me a lot of times. All you have to do is ask, and we have to have that pre-established relationship or whatever, but you literally get whatever you want from me. I typically am always saying yes. And so I think sometimes people misunderstand when I start putting those boundaries into place. It's like, you're selfish. Oh, you don't care about anybody other than yourself. And it's like, you can't even point out a time where that's true. I literally have done everything you've ever asked of me. And so since I'm uncomfortable or I don't want to, now it's a problem. The whole world, the whole role is flipped. So I think that's my biggest challenge is just people misunderstanding my boundaries for me being selfish. And then my other challenge is me performing all the time. Yeah. Have you had to unlearn certain beliefs or habits in your journey to becoming that person you were as a child?
you may not remember, but I think the biggest thing that I was harped on as like being a kid from dad and like getting in trouble was half-assing. And what that looks like to him as opposed to like what actually was going on. So like in every aspect of my life, I just assume that I'm half-assing all the time. Okay. Almost as a trauma response, you know, like it's like I didn't do enough, or like even in my jobs, when people come to me and they're like, "Hey, we need to have a conversation," I automatically assume that I didn't do something. Yes, that I made a mistake, that I didn't do something as full out or as purposeful as I should have. So having to unlearn the idea of half-assing, or what I would understand it to be as, you know, which would be not going above and beyond to meet someone else's standard, as opposed to like, okay, this is what I see this as, let me fulfill this the way that I see it.
Okay.
It's like my whole idea of that was just jaded. I think the other habit that I picked up is silencing myself and just going along with the dynamic or whatever the situation may be. You know, when it came to myself, when it came to other people, when it came to interacting with the full family, like there are parts of myself, no matter what I did, I had to silence and I had to be quiet about, you know? Yeah. And learning how to not be quiet and to actually speak out as myself, or again, like in that advocacy, you know, advocating for self. Also recognizing when you're not being fully yourself, you know, in that mask. So having to unlearn all of those habits is really hard, because you don't just develop those through your childhood experiences and traumas, and everybody has childhood trauma, right? But you carry that through your adulthood until someone or something comes along to kind of snap you out of that, or to give you some sort of different perspective of what that looks like. So it's Therapy in the past 2 years, it's a shout out to my therapist.
Shout out to me.
It's been the roughest battle trying to say, okay, I see who I am. How do I put that person on the external for everybody else to see?
It's difficult.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just an added layer to that. I know for me, it's like, how do I put that person on the external and still protect that person?
Yeah, because once they're out there, you have no control about how people receive that person, about how people
misuse,
react, misuse, all these sorts of external, things that then become that because you have to be yourself. Or because you have to actively show up as yourself,
That's a good point.
That's hard.
I've unlearned a lot. I think I've just really unlearned everything. And like re-taught myself.
Reconstructing.
Literally, like I feel like in the last 2 years, like I've been broken down to literally nothing. Just like
blank slate.
Laid out in the street.
Not in the street. Okay, hold on. So
blank slate? No, hold on. That's more than a
I
blank
thought we
slate.
was more thinking like canvas.
No, literally, like I feel
out
like
in the street.
Like undid everything, laid me out, and I'm slowly just starting to pick things up. Like just like, oh, I stood up.
Yeah.
Oh, I walked by this boutique and they offered me an outfit. Oh, I walked by these dandelions. I picked them up. I made a bouquet. And it's like I'm just slowly putting myself back together out of literally just thin air.
Out of air.
And I can appreciate that. But I'm
learning. You feel lighter?
I do. And it is crazy. Oh, I'm so glad you said that. I feel so much lighter. So something happened to me recently. We'll talk about that off camera. And I felt it on me.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the heck? What is this feeling? But it wasn't until I realized, like, well, all the work that I've been doing, I'm light.
Joy.
And so when things happen, they're like weighing on me. And I'm like,
and it's all
Jesus, what is this? Got that meat coat in the middle of summer. Like, oh my gosh. So
the meat coat is cute though.
It's cute.
Vintage.
Real cute. Don't let me play with her. Definitely gave daddy. Definitely gave heavy. Honey, can't carry it. So I feel heavier as things are beginning to occur. And so I feel a different level of urgency to like unpack, have the conversation. Let's get this out in the open. Can we communicate? Do you mind if we, because I'm like, I don't like the feeling. Versus previously, I've always had it on me. I had all 18 backpacks, 3 luggages, got my boom box on my right shoulder, literally just.
You gon' hurt your back.
Back was toe up. Erica.
Dragging on a mess like that.
Okay. I think a lot of times, like the things that we pick up as children in our household is based off of what our parents knew and what they were safe and okay with. Versus, it's like, okay, you did the best you could with what you had, or you did the best you could with the decisions that you made. That's cute. Now it's my job to do the work. It's my job to unpeel and undo. What other people do is not my business. It's not. And so I think one of the biggest things that I thoroughly enjoy now in terms of unlearning, I do not aim to agree or disagree with you. That's not my goal. My goal is to understand you. If I can understand you, we're good. I want to know where you're coming from. Why do you have that mindset? Is it trauma? Is it just an opinion? So as I'm like undoing all the terrible things, undoing all the trauma, undoing all the whatevers, I'm also learning how to be, again, more considerate and intentional, but I want to know you and understand you.
What do you do with the people that you don't understand?
It takes me a long time to process. So it doesn't even affect me. So I take in the information. We leave the conversation. I go back. I process. Whether we re-engage or we re-figure it out or re-communicate, another conversation, another day.
Yeah.
But I do want to take it back and try to understand you, because at the end of the day, we all can understand each other. It's about our desire to understand. Do you care to understand? If you don't care to understand, well, we don't need to do this at all. But I don't ever want to sit here and agree or disagree with you. That's just not my end goal right now. I can argue anybody down. I know that. I can convince anybody of anything. I also know that. So my goal is no longer to agree or disagree. I can make anybody agree with me. I want to understand from your perspective. I want to hear more about how you grew up and how you came to this conclusion.
But what if that conclusion is bullshit and the reason they gave you is bullshit?
That's on you. I can't carry that. That's on you.
That's
I cannot
hard.
carry
You
that.
better than me because that.
But I'm telling you, this growth is different. It's like you gotta let people have their shit.
That's fine and all, but like, I don't know. I think about it in a different sense of like, especially just, I think it's a lot of like the climate that we're in right now, post-election, and also like, admittedly, like my relationship with our parents right now. Like, I'm very confused. And it's not like, I'm not like trying to like get political and get crazy in that manner, but it's like certain morals to me when you can't decipher between those, even if you've had XYZ experience. That's common sense, baby.
I agree. But you have to let people have their shit.
Unless you have it.
You have to. And then you have to move on. We don't have to agree or disagree. I don't give a fuck. I heard you. I processed it. I get it. Or I don't get it. And that's not going to affect the way that I live my life. You have to live
Will
with
that affect the way that you interact with that person?
So talking specifics, if you're talking about like our household specifically, I already don't engage with Daddy a lot.
Okay, that's fair.
So it's like you having these thoughts, opinions, beliefs is cool. We already don't engage, but to say hello and goodbye. So why all this energy to be upset? We got bigger things to be upset about.
Okay.
There are worse things that have occurred that we need to be angry about. I could give a damn about this. We got things that we need to talk about from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago that needs to be worked on. I don't care about any of this. This is irrelevant. There's literally like bigger fish to fry. Literally. And this is just a scapegoat. It's easy to be angry at this because you're not really angry at this, you're angry at this.
Yeah, that's my channel.
And it's building.
But that's my thing is like, I guess that's the other thing about healing that child. At some point, y'all got to talk about it. And maybe that's just me.
And you're not, and what you're doing is, you're not talking about it, you're talking about this shit.
Yeah.
And this is nothing compared to what you need to be talking about.
Yeah.
So that's why when y'all get into the hoop that I can give a damn, which you already know I'm detaching politics anyway, so I really could give a fuck. We need to be talking about this, which I've been trying to talk about for 10 years. And so if you want to deflect and talk about this, you can do that by yourself. I'm talking about this.
Yeah.
We're not getting away from this.
Yeah.
Because this is a distraction and it's easy.
Yeah.
This ain't so easy.
That's real.
Our very last question. What are some qualities of your inner child that you want to protect and preserve as an adult?
Curiosity, first and foremost. Like, that's a major thing for me. I haven't done it lately, but I should do it more. Play, improvisation and movement, having opportunities to do things. The Legos have been like my new thing. And I want to say like random outbursts, but that's so like weird to say. But I think for the longest time, I spent so much time trying to like dull who I was and pretend like that person didn't exist.
That's right.
That it's even more important for me in my adulthood to be rambunctious, to accept and show emotion in both the good and the bad and the happy, the sad, blah, 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 blah. Isn't that a church song? No, it's not. It's an R&B song.
Yeah, maybe.
Dead. But like being able to like actually express and be vulnerable in the moment with the full spectrum of my emotions, with the full spectrum of my expression as a person, you know, I think that's the one for me.
Okay.
Those are the things that I need to preserve.
I think my desire to explore is something that I always just want to keep. I think as I try new things, I'm more and more excited to like continue to take it up a notch. And I feel like I'm slowly realizing that I am an adrenaline junkie, but like a cautious.
You gonna jump out this plane?
I feel like I need to build up to that. I also want to preserve my ability to be intentional. Like everything I do is, I don't want to say, I feel like when people say like I'm very calculated, it's like, ooh, bitch, what you up to? But no, I'm very intentional. Like the way that I care for people, the way that I observe. So you have any final thoughts on becoming the person you needed as a child?
Everybody has childhood trauma.
We all do. Realistically, I think everyone should be in therapy at some point.
And here's the other part. Y'all niggas that are raising kids also need to be in therapy, or should have taken therapy at some point in time before having said children.
Agreed. Before you have children, please go to therapy.
Because you're carrying on trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma. Like all of that stuff sits on you.
It does. And it starts early. People think that children cannot understand. Kids
they
do understand.
They understand better than adults.
They do. They feel. So it's not even the words that you're saying. They can feel the energy that you're exchanging. So
majorly, you know, like that's not something to take lightly. Like
it's not.
Parenting is not something to take lightly.
It's not.
And that's not even like judging or shading our parents. That's in general. Like parenting is not something to take lightly.
It's not.
Because you have to experience the world through that child's eyes in order to actually be parenting.
I agree.
You know, like they have like not for nothing, like I'm not saying that I don't, like I surely probably don't have the best advice for being a parent, but I will say
you do have advice though.
You need to have therapy. You have to have somebody else to talk to. And you have to heal that younger child
within. Before you start.
Before you because all you're doing is pouring more trauma.
Now you wonder why your kid running around acting an ass. That's you.
Yeah.
It's your fault.
Yeah, it is.
But
it is.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I think my final thoughts on becoming the person you needed as a child is, again, go to therapy and learn you. I think a lot of times we have become people that we didn't intend to be.
Yeah.
And so go to therapy, understand who you needed as a child, and then start showing up as that person. Because it's not even just for a self thing, it makes the community much better. When you can show up as the person that you need as a child, because then you can also supplement as that adult for other children in the community.
Representation.
With or without children, you can still be helping out the children. So that is all that we have. Thank you, Andre, for coming on the show. This was great. Make sure that y'all let us know below in the comments. Tell us about some of your. Did you become the person you needed as a child? Was it difficult? Are you still working on it? Are you not working on it at all? Are you lying? Are you faking the funk? Let's get into the details. Are you in therapy? But yeah.
Schedule one after this one.
Please do.
Literally.
Consultation. Let them know what you're going through. But yeah, thanks y'all for tuning in. We will see y'all next time. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see y'all later.
Bye.